everybody, and welcome to the Invincible podcast with me. And listen, there's no Julian, yes. There's no Robbie, yes. But what we've got is I think the best brother anyway. How you go? We've got Laurie. How you doing, Laurie?
I'm all right, man. Thank you, bro.
How are we? All right.
It's an honour and a pleasure.
Well, there you go. You know, and listen, what a week it's been. What a week it's been.
Tremendous week, mate.
It's been about, like, you know, going back to the Nottingham Forest game on Tuesday, then, of course, the big build-up to the Liverpool game.
Yeah. 3-3 as well, isn't it, since the break?
Yes, 3-3, you know, if you include the Crystal Palace game. But this was the one. Sunday was the one, as far as I'm concerned. Looking forward to it. Make or break, you could turn around and say. But listen, how are we feeling after that? Because I'm not lying. Since Sunday, I've been flying everywhere. Do you know
I can see it in your face, man. You know what I mean?
I've been flying because I did think we'd beat Liverpool. I'll be really honest, but I didn't think we'd beat them as well, as comprehensively as we did. We battered them.
We did.
It's simple as that. I don't like to say that too often.
We did.
But that is, you know, a Liverpool side that have lost one game all season, and controversially against Tottenham.
Yeah.
Flying in their last couple of games, 4 goals against Chelsea. And
the old Jurgen Klopp retirement thing.
Jurgen Klopp, well, that didn't seem to go down too well at the Emirates. Every Liverpool fan, I don't care what, every Liverpool fan you spoke to or see on previews or see them here on DR and on here and AFTV as well, everybody predicting Liverpool to win, right?
Well, I tell you what, I even know Arsenal fans.
A lot of Arsenal fans maybe did as well, like, you know, and then all of a sudden, we smashed them, and the Liverpool fans can't be gracious about it, really. You know, it was because we've had injuries. We've had not one mention of injuries before the game, and then we smash them. How are you feeling about that? What's your?
No, you know what? I'm not going to lie. The result and the performance kind of surprised me in a way. I must admit, I'm going to put my cards on the table. I thought it would be a draw.
Is that what you predicted?
I did predict a draw. I predicted a Desmond 2-2. And the reason for that is
I love that saying,
bit corny, but
I love that saying, like Desmond. I love it.
So where I was coming from with the 2-2 was that I just thought that Liverpool are a bit high right now. They're top of the table. We've not done as well against them in recent times. And I just thought that I thought the pendulum had swung towards us a little bit when I heard that Nunes weren't going to start. But then on the day we were hearing that Jesus was also not going to start. So I was thinking, So then I balanced everything up in my mind. I thought, you know what, it's probably going to be a draw, you know. I didn't see us beating them, but I didn't see us losing either. So, and I was one of those as well, that I didn't think that if we... I was one of those, I was thinking, and it may sound a little bit negative, especially in hindsight. I was thinking, as long as we don't lose, we're still in the title race. But if we win, we kind of burst it wide open. That's how I was feeling. Yeah,
I was confident, I have to say, because I felt the way Liverpool was going to play. But I've got to ask you this question. Going into the game, we played so well in that first half. We're 1-0 up. And realistically, I'm looking at it and I'm going to myself, like, if I'm a Liverpool fan or even Jurgen Klopp, I'm thinking, get into the dressing room at 1-0. I'll take that. As well as Arsenal have played, and probably as poor as Liverpool played. I think that Arsenal made Liverpool play bad, by the way, not the other way round. They get that equaliser. What was your feelings at half-time at that time?
You know, I was thinking, I go, here we go again. You know what I mean? We've managed to snatch, well, it wasn't defeat from the jaws of victory, but you know what I'm saying?
You know.
Yeah, it was very frustrating because up until that point, it had almost been a perfect half. Probably could have scored another goal.
Yeah, I think another
couple of goals. Just to accentuate it. But I must say the guys started well, maintained it all the way through that first half, and then right at the end there, to give that goal away was almost criminal. I mean, on that, who's I'll be interested to hear your opinions on this. Who did you put that down to?
Raya.
Surprise.
No. I think.
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah. I mean, listen. I think there has to be a degree of collective responsibility. There was 3 players involved: Gabriel, Saliba, and Raya. It's unfortunate with Gabriel. Kind of come off him, and you know. But my thing is this, right? You're the goalkeeper. You got the gloves. The ball's there to be won. Okay, I can understand some people saying Gabriel should have been a bit more assertive. He should have put the ball out, but he was pinning the defender, right?
Saliba was, yeah?
Yeah, Saliba. So, and then the ball's there. You're the goalkeeper. You can dive on the floor and get that. You got to be a bit brave. You got to assert your dominance in that situation and come and get it. So, yes, Saliba could have done better, but for me, Raya, you got to be claiming that. Most top goalkeepers, man, they're making that theirs. I'm sensing that you disagree.
Listen, I understand what you're saying, and I think like the Ramsdale lovers and the Raya haters, if you like, would go down that route. But I'm going to be really honest with you. Love Saliba. I think he's fantastic. We all know that. Like, I felt he should have won it. That he lost the header or didn't win the header properly.
Yeah, that's true.
Against Diaz, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like.
It started with him, definitely.
Yeah, it started with him. I think, like, cut out from the word, he should win the header and clear his lines. There's a minute to go to half time. He doesn't. He loses the header. You know what I mean? I can accept it if he lost the header to Duncan Ferguson or somebody like that of that ilk. You know what I mean? But you're talking like Diaz, who's like not the biggest. You know what I mean? It's being realistically in Ben White's pocket, and that's why he's come into that area. Really, like you know what I mean? That shouldn't happen. Then you're all right. He does pin him.
He tries to pin him as much as he can.
And that's when Ray should. Again, I'm going to say, look at the situation. Minute to go to half time. You're totally dominated. Clear your lines. Just clear your lines. You know what I mean? So I'm putting it at Saliba first and foremost. But when he has pinned him, I think maybe Raya could have done a little bit better. I don't blame Gabriel in any sense of it. It's just unfortunate that. But I'm there. And at that moment there, I'm going to admit it, I've totally lost it. I have totally
teeth were grinding.
Teeth gone. And like, what is, you know, when you're in that situation, I've walked out. I've got up.
Mind you, wasn't here after.
It was right near half time. I've got up, I said, and I'm shouting at people around me, all the money I've paid to watch defending like that. And everybody's going, yeah. It makes it even worse at times, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it gets to half time, and I'm in having a beer at half time. I've gone, you know what I mean, not enjoying it. You know, we're going to lose this now. This is it, like, you know. And my mate Kevin's turning around and saying, no, we win it 3-1. I said, what are you on about? Like, you know what I mean? Do you know when someone's saying...
I can imagine you. The teeth were grinding, the face was contorting, and it wasn't a good place to be.
No, I was like angry, like, you know, drips of sweat coming down, like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you on about? How can you say I'm defending like that, you know? So we goes out for the second half. The first 10 minutes, Liverpool at us.
Because they would have been given a bit of a lift, wasn't it?
Oh, without a doubt, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, it's like you, oh, this is it, here we go. And then all of a sudden, like, do you remember when Martin Odegaard had that shot? And it took a deflection, I'm sitting there. Why aren't you like? I said, no, it's, you know what I mean, you can't win. Liverpool will never make a mistake like that. You know what I mean? Like that. Top teams don't defend like that. 5 minutes later, Van Dijk and Alisson clash. My mate's looking at me like that. Yeah!
That was a weird situation, wasn't it? Because
unbelievable.
I wasn't expecting that from Van Dijk.
No.
I mean, when I played football, not that I was played to any high level, but I used to play in defence. And one of the things all the coaches used to impress on you, when you're in that situation, do not let the ball bounce.
It's a sacred,
you know what I mean?
Thing, isn't it?
You don't. Even, I mean, Van Dijk was probably overconfident in that situation. He's thinking, yeah, I'm the bigger, stronger guy. I got to run on him. I'll just do that. And then the goalkeeper's completely
I'm with you on that. I think it was a little bit of arrogance from him.
It was.
A little bit of arrogance from him. Like, because he is good, he's cool, strong.
He thought he had that.
He looks at it and thinks Martinelli's a little wasp. You know what I mean? Sort of a player like, do you know what I mean? I can brush him off. But I tell you what, if you look back on it, I don't know, Martinelli is too clever to do it, but at the moment he was slightly off balance. That is when he hit him. You know what I mean? Like, that's when he hit him. That was clever. You know what I mean? So that's clever play if you look at it like that.
And that's what you got to do when you're not the stronger guy.
Not the strongest. You have to take your
give him a little nudge, and that's what you do. You know what I mean?
But right opportunity.
What was so ironic about that is that, like you said, with our goal, that was a bit of a comedy of errors. So you're thinking Liverpool, far too professional.
Yes, far too good.
And then lo and behold, they go and commit an even worse offence.
And I'm going to be honest with it, the two best players in their positions for a very, very long time in the league, Alisson and Van Dijk, the two best players. And I'm going to ask you the question, who do you blame for that?
Well, for our goal, for Liverpool?
For Liverpool's goal, yeah. For our goal, which Liverpool player are you going to blame?
I think I've got to give more blame to Van Dijk.
Yeah.
I mean, on my fan
It shouldn't have
cam,
come out, Alisson, but
yeah. Listen, it's funny you say that because in my fan cam that I did after the game, I did call Alisson out because he had that, and then of course the third goal went for his legs. You know, so he didn't have a very good game by his
not by
immaculate
his standards. No, he didn't.
But like I said, when you're playing football in defence, they always tell you do not let the ball bounce. So that was a big part of the error, and Alisson just got it all wrong. So he worked in our favour. So
yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
once we got that goal, I didn't think there was any doubt. I thought it was always.
No, I had that feeling.
I felt that we was always going to go on and win the game, like, you know. And I'm going to say it now. The third goal, I'm going to be. I'm going to want to get your point on this because I don't want to criticise. And this is, no, I'm not criticising any way of the performance of manager or whatever. But like, no. But when Mikel took Martinelli off, I'm going to say, I'm going, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's our best player. He's causing all sorts of problems. And listen, that's I love it when the manager proves me wrong because on come Trossard, you know what I mean? I imagine he's looking there, he's going, oh yeah, look, I got it right. Because he did, because Trossard come on, was fantastic, scored the goal. Yeah, I love all that, like, you know. Do you think that, I felt a little bit sorry for Martinelli because he did have the ump that he come off because he had played so well.
It's not often you see him do that.
No, but I think it's because he played so well in the game. Do you think that one, you know, like, did you think that as well? Or
so here what? I'm glad you brought it out because I'm going to put this on the record. I've been one, and anybody that's seen me on AFTV content was, as much as I like and respect the manager, I've always felt that sometimes this in-game management leaves a lot to be desired. And by that, specifically, is substitutions or sometimes lack thereof. They're always late, they're always like for like. And for me, he doesn't mix things up enough. So when he made the sub and I saw Martinelli's number come up, I was like, rah, this man has been like blowing Liverpool away. How can he come off? He brings on Trossard. I thought, you know what? As much as I was a little bit like perturbed at seeing Martinelli come off, I thought, you know what, Trossard, because I've been calling for Trossard to get more minutes. I thought, okay, as much as I found that a bit bemusing that Martinelli's come off, at least Trossard gets an opportunity to do his thing. Because, like I said, I mean, there was a game a few weeks before that. I think Trossard came on in a game in the 88th minute, and I was proper dissing the manager, saying, listen, man, you're disrespecting Trossard. What do you expect him to do with a few minutes? Anyway, Trossard comes on and he plays very well, gets his goal. And so you've got to give kudos to the manager and say, yeah, you got that right. As he got the tactics right, he got the team
he got everything right.
Everything. So, listen, man, he got everything bang on, so I can't fault him.
No, and you know, Trossard come on and obviously gets the goal, but and it's a great performance. And the substitution, Saka comes on after that with a little knock and everything like that. I've got to ask the question, and I think it's fair to say, like, you know, I think Arsenal have been getting results of late, and you know, even the game against Forest, I thought we'd done well to get the result, but the performance wasn't quite there.
It was
just a bit sketchy. You can look at other games, and you know, even 5-0 against Crystal Palace, you could look back and say it weren't a great, entertaining performance. But on Sunday, I thought the performance really matched the result as well. Do you know what I mean? I have to say, like, I come away from the game.
3-1 did not flatter Liverpool.
No,
not at all.
No, I think, like, if we'd have won 4 or 5 that day,
it didn't flatter us.
We were 4 or 5. I think
it was a 2-goal margin game at least.
At least, yeah. And that's one thing going into the games now, which are going to be like a lot of pressure games coming up. We'll talk about West Ham in a second, like. But do you now look away? I come away from that game. The atmosphere was unbelievable for the game and all that, fantastic, like, you know. But I'm also thinking, like, that performance was the performance that I've wanted to see for a while, you know. And all of a sudden, like, my confidence in the team and everything has been enhanced by just one performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to take it back to the Forest game, I remember saying to people in AFTV, and again, I did fan cams to that effect, that I wasn't overly hung up on performance. For me, we had to win that game.
Yes.
And I expected a difficult game. And to be honest with you, it wasn't really that difficult, was it? Because Forest kind of played right into our hands.
Yeah.
The way Nuno set the team up and their lack of ambition somewhat surprised me.
Yeah.
So for me, even though we were the better team, I agree with you, the performance wasn't like scintillating or exhilarating. But we got the win, and for me, that was the important thing. They got the goal at the end, but let's not let that fool people. It wasn't a 2-1 game like that.
No, it was a comfortable 2-3-0 win, mate.
Again, going into the Liverpool game, my thought process, even though I thought it was going to be a draw, I thought we've got to get a result here. And I'm not too hung up on performances. Because listen, at the end of the day, if you do go on and win the league, right, not too many people are going to be dissecting the performances. Yes, it's nice to have the sugar, the icing on the top of the cake with a nice performance, but winning at this stage of the season is what you want. So, yeah,
that's a great point now, because I think it comes to the stage where you can play all your glamorous football at a certain stage, and at a certain stage of the season, I don't know if it's in February, maybe in March, where performances don't matter, does it? It is, oh, you got to win. It's the result business. If Arsenal were to go and win the league or go close this season, with the playing the way they are, we haven't really hit the heights of the performances wise, but we've been getting the results. So I'm with you, like, you know what I mean? I didn't care how we played on Sunday as long as we won.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what was more pleasing for me going into the West Ham game is that performance level was something that I've been wanting for a very, very long while. And we got a lot of that last season, some of those performances. And I do believe that the atmosphere the Emirates on Sunday was always going to be good and electric, because you're playing Liverpool when you're playing Man United. I go back to all those games, Man United, Man City, Tottenham. They're always up there. You know what I mean? But the performance and the way Arsenal played, I think, got the crowd engaged that little bit more.
And it got the players listen, at the end of that game, and you know, much has been made, Jamie Carragher and a whole host of...
We've got to talk about him.
Yeah, okay.
Let's talk about that.
But I actually do believe that was part of the reason why they celebrated the way they did, because it wasn't just the fact that we beat Liverpool. On the day, we beat them comprehensively, and we kind of made a statement. We sent a message to the likes of City and Liverpool to say, listen, man, don't be thinking it's a 2-horse race. We're in this. You know what I mean? We kind of kicked the door down.
Kicked the door open, exactly like that.
To say, look, we're here. And I like that, you know what I mean? Because I must admit, I didn't really see that coming the way it turned out. But listen, I'm happy.
We're going to talk about a celebration in a second. One thing I want to talk about is the pundits afterwards, like, you know, and it gets me. Listen,
I know you're a passionate guy.
I'm a passionate guy of it all that, and listen. I think I like Gary Neville as a pundit. I like Jamie Carragher as a pundit. I like Roy Keane as a pundit, if I'll be really honest. So, but I'm going to criticise all of them. Right. First of all, Jamie Carragher. Right. It proves to me that you should not have a pundit commentating or co-commentating or whatever on their team. Because I think that he was so biased afterwards, you know what I mean, so bitter, that he showed himself up really, like, you know what I mean, like having a go at celebrations and all that, like. And then if you wind back to when Klopp was running on the pitch and all that, he's going, oh, look at this, a great celebration and all that, like. So he's making himself look silly because he's in the emotion of the Liverpool losing. So I don't think that's a good thing. Gary Neville, like, you know, first thought was to criticise Arsenal ain't going to win the league after that result against Liverpool. And Roy Keane also said, oh, like, you know, I don't think give us that much praise, like, oh, we ain't going to win the league. You know, now when I look on that, like, you know, we're just beating Liverpool, and they're saying, well, Arsenal ain't going to win the league. Well, why aren't you saying that about Liverpool then? Because you've been absolutely stuffed. And I look at that, and this is why I think fan channels now, in my opinion, are doing so much better, because people like me watch that and go, do you know, that's why I don't want to watch them no more.
It's true.
Because, you know, I want to see it from you know, what about someone on there from an Arsenal perspective, saying how you thought about the game and all that. I'm not interested if Arsenal are going to win the league or not win the league at that stage. Talk about the game that you're being paid to talk about, and that was Arsenal 3, Liverpool 1, and none of them were going around about that, like, you know, and that's what disappoints me about them.
No, you know what, I do absolutely see where you're coming from. I mean, I would say that, and you said it as well, that the likes of Carragher, Neville, Roy Keane and that, I do respect them.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, football's a game of opinion, so sometimes they do say stuff that you think, oh, come on, man. loud at, you know what I mean? But I do respect them. I do think they contribute to the game. But then, as you said, fan channels, they've helped to revolutionise the sport. And I'm not just talking about AFTV, by the way. Fan channels and giving the fans a voice has definitely enhanced the game. These guys, like Carragher, for example, he's going on about over-celebrating and blah, blah. Like you said, what about Klopp? I mean, we're being told, and listen, I'm one of them. I like Klopp. One of the reasons why Klopp is so popular, not just with Liverpool fans, but across the spectrum is that he's passionate, he celebrates, he does the triple, you know what I mean? So like, come on now. So why won't you afford Mikel Arteta and the boys? I mean, what Odegaard was in, it was just a bit of harmless fun.
I can't
The guys are on a high, they've just beaten Liverpool. Everyone was saying before that game, if you don't beat Liverpool, your title chances are totally evaporated. What happens? They turn in an almost season best performance. Beat Liverpool comfortably. Of course they're going to celebrate. They're at home. Everyone's on a high. Why not? It would be remiss of them not to celebrate, in my view. You know what I mean? Enjoy the moment.
100%. You know, I'm with you on this. That Mikel's got a little bit. I didn't think he done anything that wrong. He just went down the, you know, like, he ran halfway down the thing, like, you know what I mean? Weren't sliding on his suit, like, you know what I mean? And he didn't pull an hamstring like Jurgen Klopp did.
Well, there you go.
Against Spurs, that was, which wasn't a title decider at the time. When Jurgen Klopp goes on after games, I've seen it, you know what I mean? Like, walks up to the cop, giving it, yeah, like, you know, like,
and they love
nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong at all.
Engages the crowd. I'm going to be really honest with you about this. It really annoys me because there was a time at Arsenal when we never had that. Players weren't coming up to the fans after games and things like that. You know, I remember at Old Trafford a few years ago we lost and they just all walked down the tunnel. Do you remember when Mertesacker had to get Mesut Ozil
I was
to come
there that
back
day.
Like,
you know, the little pushing and
pushing him to go to the fans.
Yeah, I was there.
So from our point of view, we've not had that. So for me, to have the engagement of the players like we do now, I think it's a big thing.
Listen, everyone always talks, not everyone, but a lot of people talk about the disconnect that sometimes can be there between the fans and the players and the managers and stuff like that. We're seeing that at Arsenal, you know what I mean? Like the fans are really connecting with the players and the manager and likewise vice versa. So it's all good. And listen, they deserve that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like they were running around and, you know what I mean, taking selfies with each other and jumping up and hoisting each other up and like they'd won the league. It was just a good-natured, genuine celebration, bit of fun with Odegaard at the end. Obviously, he's got a good relationship with the cameraman, and so they celebrated. I just thought that was churlish by Carragher, and he made himself look a little bit salty in doing it.
I'm with you on this. Like,
he made himself look
Odegaard's
salty.
not done that at any other stage. It was just a spontaneous moment like that. I just thought they were doing having a laugh between.
And it's obvious that him and the cameraman have got a decent relationship.
Of course, he goes every game like that. Stuart goes every game, home and away in Europe, and he's very, very close to the players. And I think it was not only that; it's engaging. That I know for a fact that some of those photos that the photographer sent on to the supporters and things like that because they feel like part of it as well. And the other thing is, and I'm going to give a little bit of credit to Arsenal here, like. And the players is that they done that, and most of the fans stayed behind and all that, like. And Martin Odegaard in every game does that, goes around and the fans stayed. You know, we beat Crystal Palace 5-0. Most of the fans went home, and I was a bit disappointed about that because it was a Saturday game or whatever. I think it was 12:30 kickoff. You ain't really got to rush home. This game was most fans stayed after the game. Yeah. But I remember when we lost to Fulham. And the players still come over and, you know, clapped us and like, you know what I mean? Like, I work, you know, no, go on, go away.
You weren't having it.
I weren't having it. It was a poor performance, go away. But they still done it. So you still, like, I look back on that and think, right, okay, you know, we didn't play well, but it's a respect thing, like, you know what I mean? They've still said, they've put their hands up, said sorry or whatever. And I think that is something that I've always wanted at Arsenal from the Wenger years, the connection, like, you know, and we get that and we get criticised for it, like, you know. I see other clubs doing it. and everybody says it was great. I see Tottenham doing it after 6 games against Liverpool. The place was going mad and all that. It's fantastic. Spurs, have got their club back and everything like that. We do it, it's over.
And I'll tell you something else as well, right? And this is something that I've spoken to a lot of fans about, not just Arsenal fans, but other fans of other clubs. Where I've got a problem with celebrations is players celebrating too much during the game. So, for example, there was a classic one example I can give. I think it was Nottingham Forest versus West Ham, and Elanga scores a really good goal. Give him credit for the goal against West Ham. I think it was about half an hour. And the man goes absolutely apoplectic. He's ripped his shirt off. He's running to the crowd. I'm looking at March, I'm thinking, it's only it's still like an hour left of this game to go. You're carrying on like you scored the winner in the Champions League final. Like, slow down, bro. What happens? Within a couple of minutes of that, actually, I don't even think it was a couple of minutes, West Ham go and equalise. West Ham go on and win the game. And I'm thinking, you know what I mean? You need to keep your level of concentration.
Very good point.
Because they do say that a team, and apparently this is statistically a fact, are at the most risk of conceding a goal after you've just scored one. And that's because players in the emotion, and I get it, listen, man, players have said scoring goals is the equivalent to having sex. Now, I don't know, because I've never scored a Premier League goal. I have had sex, I've never scored a Premier League goal. So listen, that's what they say. So I can imagine it must be an almighty high. That being said, you are a professional, you've got to keep your composure. So over-celebrating goals is something I do have a problem with. You know what I mean? Sometimes you'll see players, I think Mateta did it this season. The man's not scored in 40-odd games. He's scored a goal and then he's gone up to his own fans, by the way, and he's doing that. I'm thinking, bro, why are you club? You're doing what you're supposed. You're getting paid to score goals for your club. You scored a goal, celebrate, get on with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the other thing I'd like to say is Martin Odegaard is a class act. Because I do a lot of the watch-alongs in the studio, I don't get to go to as many games as I'd like to go to, but there's 2 examples I can give of games that I did go to. One game we lost and one game we won. So the Carabao, you was at that game because I remember seeing you there. When we beat Brentford in the Carabao Cup, good performance, beat Brentford. At the end of the game, Odegaard, as he always does, comes over to the fans, and he was having a light-hearted moment with El Neni, because El Neni played in that game.
Yeah.
And if you remember, he pushed El Neni towards,
yeah.
so that the fans, because I think that was his first appearance for the season, El Neni at that time, Cloud gave him an applause, all good, right? In that same competition, a few weeks after that, we go and play West Ham. Poor performance, we lost. Odegaard stayed right to the end, came over to the fans. So that's consistent behaviour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, he's a class act, Odegaard. I appreciate that. So Carragher was very mean-spirited in doing that. And I just thought that was so salty. Bro, chill.
And the other thing about it, which makes it even more, if you don't like it, go, like all the Liverpool fans did, they go.
Yeah,
because they don't see what's going on. If it was the other way around and Arsenal were away at Liverpool and, you know what I mean, like, I ain't hanging around, off you go, like, you know what I mean, like,
exactly.
And let the moment go with the art. And that moment there, realistically, is just Arsenal players and Arsenal fans enjoying the moment, like, you know what I mean, nothing wrong with that. And do whatever we like, you know what I mean, like, and I'm a big up for it. Listen, when Arsenal lose, it hurts, and you feel it, don't you, when you lose? You know,
it ruin your weekend.
It ruins the weekend and whatever, like, you know. But what I like about this Arsenal team, and you can give Mikel credit for it or whatever, like. And the one thing that I do feel is I know, even though when we do have a bad performance and we lose, they care.
Yeah,
they care. Like, there was a time when I honestly thought that Arsenal players did not care whether we won, lost or drew. Right, I believe these players do care, and I go back to that documentary at the time when you see the passion after a defeat of Mikel Arteta. I know that those players, when they don't win, they're going to get it, and I kind of love that thing. Like,
yeah, man. I mean, he's definitely brought that connection back between the team, the manager, the fans. You can see that. I'm reliably informed that the atmosphere at the Emirates these days is second to none. And listen, man, I'm loving that. He's done a lot of good things, Arteta, and that's one of them. He's brought that connection back.
It is, and there were times when you went to the Emirates and it was just like, and I don't mean this horribly or arrogantly, that it was a chore. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, there's games I've been to in the past where I've come away from it thinking, wasn't the best.
It wasn't a lot. But I actually go to the Emirates now and really look forward to every game at the Emirates. I used to, but I'll be really honest, when I used to look forward to the away games more because of the better atmosphere and everything like that. But nowadays, I look forward to the Emirates just as much as an away game, like, you know what I mean, because of that atmosphere and the way it's all 100%. gone. And fantastically well. Moving on now, moving on. We go away from home this week to a team that's beaten us twice already this season.
Another Declan
the Declan Rice derby, like, or is it like, you know, Rice and Curry derby? Is what we're going to call it. Like, you know,
I like that one, Rice and Curry.
So, this is how I believe the West Ham game now, right? I believe that since Declan Rice has come to Arsenal, West Ham will always be a tougher game than it ever was now, because of two reasons. The fans are up for beating us every single time, because at the end of the day we've took their star player, and I understand the reasons they're a little bit bitter. They're a little bit bitter by it, I get that, right? But also the players. Do you know what I mean? Like, because Declan Rice, if you think about it, Declan Rice has said, I'm leaving you guys because I think I've got a better chance of winning with these guys. So the players are up for it. We'll show you, Declan. We'll show you, you know what I mean? And they've shown him on a couple of occasions. You know, massive game. Because if you beat Liverpool, you cannot afford then to go to the London Stadium, which is a difficult place, by the way. They're still a very, very good team. They're a top 10 team, whatever way you look at it. We've got to go away from home. And my feelings of this is, if Manchester City are going to West Ham on Sunday, Manchester City win this game. And that is the attitude that I've got to take into this game now. Like, well, we've got to go there and win.
Right. You're right.
What's your feelings on this one?
I agree with pretty much everything you said there, man. I mean, it will be a difficult game. Like you said, they've beaten us twice already this season. One of those games, I was at that game. Me and you was sat in. Remember?
It was
close proximity to each other, and that was a poor performance. If you recall, the manager decided to rest the likes of Declan Rice, Odegaard, and one or two others. And lo and behold, when we're 3-0 down, he brings them on. We end up losing 3-1. It's a poor night, cold night, a wet night, one to forget really. But then they go and, about a month after that, in this late December, they beat us on our own ground as well. So it's not been too fortuitous for Declan, because he's been outstanding this season.
Yeah.
That has to be said. But yet, in the two games against West Ham, they were arguably his worst games in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah, come on a sub, didn't he, in the second half. And
I anticipate another difficult game. I mean, I don't know how you see it, but sometimes when a team, I mean, they got beaten quite comprehensively last week by Man United. But sometimes you can't read too much into that.
No, certainly not.
Backlash factor.
Did you see that game?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
It's not 3-0. It's not 3-0. They should have got something out of the game. They should have. You know,
but the fans are going to want a reaction, and like we said, it's a Sunday afternoon game. The eyes of the world are going to be on that game, and they're going to make it difficult for us. I do think we can beat them. I do think we will beat them, but I'm expecting another hard game.
Yeah, I'm expecting a very, very tough game. Like, you know, I'm going to be honest. I'm more nervous about this game than I was last week.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll be really honest with you. Over the last sort of couple of games, and even last season, when you look back on it, if you remember rightly, it was 1-0 down against West Ham at home on Boxing Day, and it was a real tough game, and there was a decision with Martinelli getting offside, and you're thinking, oh, we need this desperately. Like, we come back in the second half and won it 2-1, and then obviously the 2-2 draw later on. But these two games, I think, of really what David Moyes has got something over Mikel. Not as the way he goes about it tactically, the way that West Ham sets up is very, very kryptonite to us. If I'll be honest. And then he's got the players up front that are very, very dangerous on the break. That can hit us on the break. Yeah. You know, they had 2 chances against us, or 2, maybe 3 chances against us at the Emirates. Took 2 of them. You know, and I look back at that Man United game. Realistically, you know what I mean. Like, he'd be fuming about that, because they should have had chances to win that.
Yeah,
game.
on another day
they get a result there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so this is a team that you cannot take lightly. They will sit in. This is the thing that I think with West Ham, and the problem that David Moyes has got with West Ham fans, in my opinion, you know what I mean? So when they play the likes of Brentford, teams like Crystal Palace and Bournemouth and all that, I think that the West Ham fans want them to attack and go for it, but they play the same sort of way. But when an Arsenal comes to it, or a Man City, the fans will accept that sort of performance.
That's right.
So they'll accept them on Sunday, sitting in, digging in, conceding possession, and then hit us on the break.
Yeah.
They will accept that, like, you know. And
hit you on the break, set pieces.
Yes,
Guys like Ward-Prowse, people, kudos.
Yeah, and this is the problem that I've got with this game. So Arsenal got one go there and not play this slow game. They've got to be very, very quick, get a goal early, and then not, like they did last season, blow them away. But then when you blow them away after 10 minutes, don't sit back and we've got to go at them. I think intensity, fast pace. Take the game to the... You know, I know it sounds funny, but we have to take... Even though we're the away side, the next 2 games we're going to have to take it to these teams. Both teams, by the way, in Claret and Blue, in Burnley and West Ham. But we've got to take them on.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. They're sitting there, wait for us to make mistakes. And, you know, Saliba made a mistake at Nottingham Forest, maybe at Liverpool as well. That will suit West Ham. And that's why I'm a little bit nervous about this game.
No, I can understand you being nervous, because I'm nervous as well. Because like you said, there's no point in beating Liverpool, having such a commanding performance, and then the next week you go to West Ham and it all, you know, falls flat. So, and you are right. Tactically, that is exactly the way West Ham will play. They will sit back, 2 backs of 4, defend deep, and look for their chance on the counter attack. And like you said, the way to overcome that is because we will have, I'm pretty sure we will have much more possession than they will. Fast tempo, but above all, you got to take your chances when you, because we will get chances, we got to take them. And that's been a bit of a worry, if I'm being honest. We do need what I call a clinical striker, because listen, I've got lots of love for Jesus. Tremendously technical and talented player. However, his shortfall is, and listen, the man said so himself, scoring goals is not his forte. But if he's not scoring, the likes of Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, whoever it is, Havertz, whoever it is, they've got to chip in and do their thing. We've got to take our chance, because we will get a lot of the ball, we will create chances, we've got to take them.
Like
You've got to be clinical.
Your manager now, you know, Jesus has come in and said that he's okay, he's trained all week and he's fit. Well, I don't know if he is, but I think the feeling is that he will be fit for this game. What would you do? Would you keep Havertz up top, or do you bring back Jesus? Do you keep Jorginho in midfield, or do you change that around?
It's a good question, because obviously the old adage, you don't change a winning team, and there is a lot of sense to that. However, I think Jesus is an important member of the team. I've already discussed how, I've already said how good he is technically. If he's fit and available and there's no real injury concerns, I'd start him. Definitely.
So you go with Jesus in there, like, and what about Jorginho? I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, man. Got to shout out Jorginho.
What do we do? Yeah, shout out for Jorginho.
You know what? I'm going to say, and a lot of people who have watched me on AFTV might be slightly surprised when I say, I think he's got to keep his place, bro. He was outstanding last week. I mean, I was a little bit apprehensive of him playing against Liverpool, because I always consider Jorginho a very technically good player, composed, experienced, he's playing with a lot of IQ. However, to me, his shortfall is that he's not the most dynamic of midfielders. And I thought against Liverpool, he might struggle in the midfield when he got those guys running up and down. But to my surprise, and I'm pleasantly surprised, he did really well in that game. And I think he's done enough to keep his position.
Yeah, and he done 90 minutes as well.
He did.
You know, afterwards, Mikel turned around and said he's been in a lot of pain, which was, I felt, bit strange that he would say something like that.
Yeah, a bit weird. But then, you know,
is that making an excuse so he can leave him out or whatever? I'm going to be very, very disappointed if Jorginho's not playing. That you might find that a bit strange. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm with you on this. Is that there is that saying that don't change a winning team. You know what I mean? I get that, and it was such a good performance that he probably should go with that team, but. I think if Jesus is fit, he comes back.
Yeah, he's got to come back, man. And going back to Jorginho as well, I like that him playing there. Declan Rice was allowed to
just go wherever.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that will be crucial. We spoke earlier about Declan Rice not having his best games against West Ham so far this season. Maybe with Jorginho in there, that will give him the licence to roam forward a bit more and do his thing. And on Declan Rice as well, I was going to say this, that it'll be interesting to see. Actually, I say interesting, we know what's going to happen. He's going to get booed, isn't he? Which is, I think, a bit unfortunate given the sterling service that he gave to West Ham. But on that, I've got a couple of friends who are West Ham fans. And I said to them, I said, listen, how come you, man, like going on Declan so hard? I can understand some ironic cheers and boos and stuff like that, but you lot really give it to him, man. And they were saying to me that the reason why they think that he gets such stick at West Ham is because apparently when he joined us, in the interviews immediately following him coming to Arsenal, he was saying things like, oh, coming to Arsenal, oh, I've never seen anything like this. And they've kind of taken that personal. You know what I mean? Which, okay, fair enough. But really what they should be doing, man, is thanking the guy for the service he's done and thanking him for the fact that they've got £105 million richer off the back of that sign.
And made some good signings on it.
Yeah,
how I see it is, you know, that he's such a good player for them that they're hurt by the
yeah, they're bound to be hurt. But listen,
I get that.
He's always going to go in it. I mean,
and I think that, you know, if he'd have gone Man City, it would have been softened the blow a little bit, like, you know. But you know, by going Arsenal that have not won trophies and all that, like, you know, it's like basically like, you know, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth for him.
It is, but I can understand if we were more a direct rival, and I don't mean that to sound disrespectful, because although we are rivals, we're London rivals. Number one, there's no real hatred between West Ham and Arsenal. Not in the way there is with Arsenal and Tottenham and Arsenal and Chelsea.
Yeah.
And same for them. West Ham, they hate Tottenham, they hate Chelsea. I don't think the rivalry's as
I've
intense.
always found it been a good rivalry.
Yeah, it's not like
we've all hated, you know, like on Tottenham, you know what I mean, like as much, and probably Chelsea the same sort of thing. We can relate to that, but I do feel that by going to the London Stadium in that League Cup tie after the signing of Declan Rice, and also this one here, there's a different thing to it now. There's a little bit more, you know, like
a bit more need on
a little bit more spice gone with the rice now, like, do you know what I mean? They've just chucked a bit of curry powder on the old rice. It's just heated it up a little bit, like, you know. And and I understand that, and I think that we've got to, as a club and as players, understand that now and make sure that we put in a performance that merits what we're going to do. I think that the decisions that Mikel makes now in this game are going to be very, very important.
Absolutely,
very important. But looking forward to that, like, you know, I'm going to be really honest, Laurie. If we don't win this game, I think that puts us out of the title race again. I really do. We've got these next few games. I had a look at it yesterday. Perhaps I shouldn't have done. I had a look at what we've got, what Manchester City have got over the next few weeks, and Liverpool, and even Spurs. I had a look at them as well. They've all got games that they can look at it and go, do you know what? Win. And in our games, I'm going to mention our games now. We've obviously got West Ham, then we've got Burnley, and then we've got Newcastle at home. Forget about the Champions League because they're coming in. Newcastle at home, Sheffield United away. Then we've got Brentford and Chelsea, I think, like, you know, and then it's the international break, right? Now, the Chelsea game, we could actually not play in that game now, so we could have 2 weeks off, because if Chelsea beat Leeds in the FA Cup, that game gets postponed. So we'll have a game where we'll have a little bit of a break of 2 weeks.
Maybe we can go back to Dubai.
So we could go to Dubai again, like, you know. So there's a couple of weeks break in that, like, you know. In between those games, Liverpool have Manchester City in one of those games in that week, like, you know. So I look at it, this is how I've been for it. If Arsenal have got any chance of winning the league, and you might think I'm bad here.
No, I'm listening.
We have got to beat West Ham. We've then got to go and beat Burnley. They've then got to go and beat Newcastle. They've got to go and beat Sheffield United, and we've got to go and beat Burnley. Now, all that's five wins on the spin that I think we've got to have. The difficult games in there, like Newcastle at home, West Ham away, you know what I mean? But I think if Arsenal are to go on, we have got to go into that game against Manchester City at the Etihad with 5 wins under our belt.
Wow, 5 on the bounce. You know what? As much as I do see where you're coming from with that, and I know one or two of the other guys in AFTV have spoken similar things, I'm going to go against the grain a little bit.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And I'm going to adopt the phrase that I hear a lot of the players and managers do. I'm going to take one game at a time.
One game at a time, yeah.
And the reason for that is because, like I said, there's no point in beating Liverpool last week if you then go and screw it up against West Ham, which, let's be honest, is going to be a difficult game.
Tough game, yeah.
As we've said, they've beaten us twice already this season, and both those games, they did actually deserve it. Although the game at Arsenal, we had a lot of chances, but we didn't take them. I'm looking at this game in isolation. It's interesting because we played West Ham, I think it was last April, wasn't it? We played Liverpool and West Ham in close proximity within a week of each other.
Yes, same. It's happened again, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's happened again.
And we didn't win either game. So
it's happened again.
2 all draws both games.
You're all right.
I think the first game's on the 9th of April against Liverpool. We drew 2-2, and then the week after West Ham. Remember that game?
Yeah.
With Liverpool, we threw the lead away, and then the West Ham game, and it started to go downhill from there on.
Yeah.
So we've got to be mindful of things like this. We cannot afford to be complacent. We cannot afford to look too far ahead. We've got to look at West Ham in isolation. We've got to study West Ham, look at the games where it went wrong for us, and address that. And you said yourself, Lee, the tactics have got to be bang on. We are going to get a lot of the ball. But with that comes, the tempo's got to be right, and we've got to take our chances. We've got to be totally clued in. I'm not looking at, and I do get you.
No, it's a great point. You know it's a great point.
Well, I
wish I hadn't done it like that. I mean, I was just sitting at home yesterday, and I just, I tell you what threw me to have a look at that was because when the Chelsea game is, when we played Chelsea, that's the FA Cup quarter-final. Now, I didn't think Chelsea would beat Aston Villa, so I thought, that game's definitely going to be Saturday morning, 12:30 kick-off. But once they got the result, I looked at it and thought, well, they've got Leeds at home. I think that they'll beat Leeds at home. And that means then that weekend's free. So I'm sort of looking at things going, well, I'm going to have a weekend free there.
No, it's natural to do that.
Yeah, I think it is. So if it's natural for me to do it, I don't know if the players will do it.
I mean, publicly they will say, no, we're not. But there will always be a little bit of that. But I'm trying to learn from the lessons of the past, and that is, with this Premier League, man, I mean, I am one of those that do actually be very few easy games in the Premier League, right? Even when you get good results, you have to earn that.
Yes,
right?
100%.
You can't just
totally
rock
agree.
up and expect to beat teams. It's not going to happen, because every Premier League team has got at least 2 or 3 good players on their day. If they turn up, that could be the difference. You know what I mean? When we played West Ham before, how many shots on goal did we have?
Yeah, we have
30, was it?
Something ridiculous like that. I think it's 40, something like that.
And we couldn't score. So I'm under no illusions. It's going to be a difficult task. I actually think it's been made harder by the fact that West Ham got beat so comprehensively last week, because you mentioned yourself a minute ago with Villa and Chelsea. Not many people would have been predicting that Chelsea, after the week they've had, to go to Villa, who are a very good team, at home, in a rich vein
Played
of
him
form,
off the park.
and they smoked them, basically, 3-1. Not many people saw that. I was in the gym, I come out and heard the result. I had to look at my phone again and thought, oh. But then I shouldn't be surprised, because like I said, every team has good players, and if they've been knocked in the press and said, they're not playing for the manager, they're not playing, there's problems there, this and that, sometimes what will happen is the manager will get these guys, say, look what these men are saying about you lot, man. They're saying you're shit. They're saying that you're not playing for the club. You're not, you're not earning your money, you know what I mean? Go out there today and show them that you care. And I'm sure David Moyes will be losing a little bit of that psychology on the West Ham players this week. They say, look, last week, everyone's clowning on you, man, saying you got beat by West Ham. Let's go out there today and show the fans that, we're capable of beating Arsenal. We've done it a couple of times already this season. Come on, boys. And you'll see a different performance, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's the worry. I agree with you, because West Ham, if you was a West Ham fan, you'd probably go like, after that defeat against Manchester United, and as I said, if anybody's seen it, they didn't deserve to lose 3-0.
No.
Probably the best game for them to play is an Arsenal or a Spurs or somebody like that, And I totally agree with you. Like,
extra motivation.
I do agree with you that every game's difficult.
Every game is difficult. Spurs
fans, for instance, my Spurs mates are all that. We're going to Everton, guaranteed win. I said, only guaranteed up there, mate. But we smoked them 3-1, 3-0, 2-0. and because, you know, like they think that they're a better team than Everton, and they are at this moment in time. But Everton have still got something in their lockers, i.e. set pieces. And like, we've been undone by a set piece up there the season before. You know, no game is easy in the Premier League.
And you've got to earn the right. So even if we do go to West Ham and we beat them comprehensively, right, it won't be, I doubt very much whether it'll be a case of West Ham just roll over. You would have had to earn that.
Yeah.
Even, you know, up until you score that first goal or that second goal, wherever it is, they're going to be on you.
As you just rightly said earlier on, Nottingham Forest, we was all over it, we dominated them. But that last 5 minutes, you know what I mean, we're every Arsenal fan pleading for the final whistle.
That's it.
So every game's very, very difficult. Before we go on then, prediction for this one.
That being said, I do think we'll win. I think that we're on a high. Obviously, great win last week. And we've got motivations of our own this week. Not just, the obvious one is, you know, I mean, we're in the title race, but there's Declan Rice going back. We want the Arsenal fans and the players and the whole club will want him to go there and give of his best and do well. There's that whole celebration thing as well. I'm sure pretty much Mikel Arteta will be using that and say, look, these lot think that we're just one-trick ponies. Let's go out there and show them that we're for real. And I think all things being considered, we are the better team. And again, no disrespect to West Ham, but we are. And I think that will be the difference. I think it will be a hard-fought game. I'm going 2-1. I know people always throw that 2-1 around, but I genuinely think it will be a difficult game, but I think we'll have the edge. Maybe Ward-Prowse gets a set piece, free kick or something like that, or maybe Koo does more damage, but I do think we'll be a couple of goals.
I'm going to argue with you on that. Like, I'm going to go 2-0, and the reason I'm going to go 2-0 is I think defensively we're a very, very good defensive, and I think we need to get a few more clean sheets than what we're getting, and I felt that we should have probably had one at Forest. I'm not saying that we should have had one at Liverpool, but I think when you look at the percentage of play and everything like that, we should do. And I think it's imperative that we start getting a few clean sheets. So I think it's going to be a very, very tough game. I think it's going to be 1-0. We might nick a goal very, very late on to
have we had many 1-0s? I mean,
we haven't had that many 1-0s.
Everton 1-0.
Beat Everton 1-0. I think Brentford we beat 1-0.
Yeah.
But, you know, 1-0 to the Arsenal used to be like, it doesn't seem to be so much now, like, you know what I mean? Listen, I think it's going to be a very, very difficult game, but I just think that West Ham are going to give us a real tough game, but I just think that we're going to have enough to get over that.
Yeah, I just think on balance,
I wouldn't be surprised if we slipped up on this game, though. I'm going to be really honest. I think that this is going to be.
You know what? I'm going to disagree with you there. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked, though, because like I said, or we both said, they've beaten us twice already this season. However, I do think that this is a different stage in the season. We absolutely have to get a result on Sunday, and I do think that will make the difference. Because let's be honest, we are playing for, and again, no disrespect with West Ham fans, we're playing for more than them right now. So that should make a difference.
It should be. It should make a difference. You know what I mean? Like it should. Like, you know, this is it. We're in a title race, and we've got to prove it. And to prove that, you have to go to the likes of West Ham and get the result. Like, you know. Listen, thanks for watching.
I've enjoyed that.
It was very, very good. Like, you know, unfortunately, Julian will be back next week. Like, you know. But Robbie should be back. Like, you know, they're obviously out in Ghana, so check out all that stuff. I've got to say, before we go, an amazing reception.
Man,
unbelievable! If you haven't seen it, go and have a look at the reception these guys get. You know, it makes you very humble to see what we're all doing.
Man. Shout out to the Ghanaian people.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I know quite a few Ghanaians from way back. I used to live near some. I live in Enfield. There's a big Ghanaian population in Enfield. My boxing coach is Ghanaian, Mr. Ake, God rest his soul. So I'm familiar with the Ghanaian culture. They're very friendly people, very, you know what I mean, love their football. Even though their national team's not very good. But yeah, man, I mean, I saw that and I was made up, man. I was like, rah, look at that.
It's incredible.
It is.
It's absolutely incredible.
Testament as well to AFTV, to see where they've come from.
Yeah, like, to see that.
To go abroad and be given a reception like that was just heartwarming, man. Really.
It was. It's incredible. Like, you know what I mean, made me very jealous.
Yeah, so shout out to the Ghanaians.
Shout out to that. It was
they'll
fantastic.
be doing a watch along there, won't they?
So they'll be doing a watch along there. So don't forget, you know, we'll be doing the watch along there. I understand that we'll another watch along in England as well. Of course,
I'll be at the game.
So
you're going to be at the game.
I'll be at the game. Yeah. So we're going to be covering the game as well. So check out on all socials and everything like that. We will be fully on it for the West Ham game. In Ghana, in England, and of course at the London Stadium. So thanks for watching. Until next time, have a good weekend.
The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.